Hello, friends. Tonight, I'll introduce a friend to you. His name is 142. He is also a listener. He added me a couple of days ago and sent me a story. He wrote it very seriously, but I was very harsh about it. I told him the story wasn't scary enough, and I couldn't record it. But this guy, that he's different from others, he didn't get angry. He told me he just wanted me to see it first, to help you understand. I have genuinely scary stories later. Then a day later, he sent me the next two stories. When I read them, they were indeed different. So I recorded them right away. But I also need to apologize. To 142, I was extremely busy that day. When I replied to you, I wasn't rude. But I wasn't very tactful, so I hope you'll forgive me. All right then, let's get to today's main topic. 142-second stories. As I said, there are two. But the first one is very short, yet extremely scary. 142 seconds first story happened many years ago. One day, it was the Qingming Festival. 142 was young at the time and went to a cemetery to pay respects. When they arrived, since 142 was a child, he wandered around. His parents were busy. But after a short while, he saw a tomb ahead. Behind the tombstone, a child was crouching. This child was on the ground, biting into a green apple. Eating an apple. 142 wondered what was going on with this child. No one was watching him. Why was he eating an apple in a cemetery? At first, he didn't pay much attention. Then, after a while, he had gone to his parents and back. He saw the boy was still there, still eating the apple. But this time, the apple in his hand wasn't green. It had become a red apple. More importantly, under the child's feet, there seemed to be some snacks. At that moment, 142 wondered, is this child a beggar? Come to the cemetery to steal food. Won't he be punished? These are dead people. Would they be happy about this? So, 142, out of curiosity, went over, because he had nothing else to do, to take a closer look. But when he got close to the child seemed not to see him. So, at that time, he was walking heavily and even stomped his foot, trying to tease or scare the child. But this kid completely ignored him, just lowered his head and ate an apple. Then, 142 at this point thought this kid might be a bit slow, maybe mentally disabled, so he didn't bother with him anymore. As a result, he stomped his foot hard and threw it at the ground, but the kid still had no reaction. So 142 decided to turn and leave. But in the time it took to turn around, 142 looked back and saw, behind him, a tombstone was facing him, and on this tombstone was a photo. The photo was of a child. Immediately, 142 seconds' heart sank. He quickly turned his head back to look at the child. The result, the little one who was just eating an apple, had disappeared. Suddenly, 142 seconds' mind became chaotic. He said, I feel like I am in a time warp. His first reaction wasn't to see or to be scared. It was, I feel like I've lost it. After a few seconds, he quickly realized, oh no, I saw a ghost. At this moment, he instinctively ran towards his parents. He ran about 10 to 20 meters, but he couldn't control himself. He looked back again. And this time, he saw the spot where the child was squatting. An old man was standing there. The old man was bent over, doing something. At this point, 142 became curious again. He immediately stood still and shifted his body to the side. Then he watched what he was doing. Because a tombstone was blocking the view, 142 looked again and saw the old man was looking down and snatching the snack from the child's hand. The child was now sitting on the ground. At this, 142 understood. Oh no, it's not just one ghost. There's an old man too. He immediately screamed. He ran frantically towards his parents. Because he screamed so loudly, his parents heard him. They immediately looked at him and asked, "What's wrong?" 142 was now in a daze, shaking all over. He ran to his father's side and hugged him tightly. His father asked him, "What's wrong?" "I don't wander off here." Then 142 said, Dad, let's go. I want to go home." His mother, standing nearby, sensed something was wrong. She told his father, "All right, that's enough. Let's go back." And so, the day ended. The family quickly left the cemetery, but on the way, his mother clearly felt that 142 was scared, and his mother whispered to him, "Did you see something? Did you see something? What's wrong? Were you scared just now?" Jiguo's move really broke him. He burst into tears. And in the car, he told his whole family about the experience. His whole family listened. Not one of them wasn't amazed. All right, everyone. That's the end of the first story about 142. Now let's talk about his second story. By this time, 142 was 19 or 20 years old, and he had even joined the army. After returning from the army, when he returned home to find a job, he encountered something strange. This happened after 142 returned with the main group. He quickly found a job in their city. He encountered F. At that time, 142 was in a hurry to start work. So he was very eager to start, so he didn't think too much. He went to work in the suburbs of the city. But the second one said the job was decent. He worked in a large medical equipment city, and he was in one of the companies there. After starting work, everything was going smoothly. The only thing was that the commute was quite long. Since Eisler wasn't very old, he had a car in that era. He already had a car, so he drove his family's car to and from work every day. He didn't expect to work for only about 10 days. One evening, he worked overtime until after 9 o'clock. 142 finally finished his work, and when he left the company, it was already almost 10 o'clock when he drove on the road. But because 142 Seconds company was in the suburbs, by 10 o'clock, there were only a few sparse streetlights, so it was very dark. There was no other light. There weren't many cars on the road either, so 142 was stunned after leaving the company. He was thinking to himself, he was wondering, did I come to work from this road? Why do the roads outside look the same at night? Which way should I go? After some thought, he made a random choice and just drove down a random road. It looked like the road he took every day. But unexpectedly, halfway down the road, he realized something was wrong. He had taken the wrong road. He didn't recognize the supermarkets and things on the roadside. He had never seen them before. But this road, it wasn't easy to turn around. There was a median strip in the middle, so he had to drive to the end of the road to turn around, so he could turn around. So 142 just kept driving forward as much as possible. As he drove, he saw a light in the distance. It was a white light, and it had a very ominous word written on it. Even an idiot could tell. This was a veterinary clinic by the roadside. Suddenly, 142 thought, this is really bad luck. He took a wrong turn and saw this. Then he cursed. Damn it! This is so disgusting. Then he quickly wanted to get away from there. when the store was running parallel. Suddenly, the door of the store opened and an old man darted out. This old man ran out very fast and shouted loudly towards the road. "Hey, give me a ride." When the old man shouted, when he was completely parallel to it, meaning the head darted out towards car 142 directly, and car 142 couldn't stop. Who would stop late at night, right? Chinese people don't have the habit of asking for a ride, so they thought he was crazy, and just drove past. But when car 142 drove past the old man saw that car 142 didn't stop, and seemed a bit unhappy. He shouted again at the back of car 142. "Fine, you won't give me a ride, right? I don't think you can leave this road." As the third one, while the old man was shouting, car 142 had already driven off. After hearing the old man's words, car 142 thought, "That damn old man is so annoying. What do you mean, don't think you can leave this road? Who are you?" But don't underestimate car 142. This was just him trying to comfort himself. In reality, he was quite scared, but the car had already driven away, heading towards the front of the road. But after driving for a short while, car 142 felt something was wrong. The first, he felt uncomfortable inside, feeling uneasy. Then his mind kept replaying what the old man shouted just now, and the scary look of the old man by the road. Car 142 said, "I didn't see what he looked like clearly. He seemed to be wearing strange clothes. Plus, he ran out of a vet clinic." So at that moment, car 142 thought, "Did I see something evil again?" But as it turned out, at first, car 142 didn't feel anything. It was just his imagination. But as he kept driving, car 142 felt that the road around him was wrong, because it was a normal paved road earlier. But as he drove, he realized he didn't know when. He had driven onto a dirt road, and this dirt road led into a forest, and the road got deeper and deeper. By the time car 142 realized, he stopped the car by the roadside and looked back. Only the dirt road remained behind the car. In the distance, the road that should have been there had disappeared. The car 142 was stunned. His heart began to race. A chill surrounded him, and the forest around him felt eerie. Car 142 had been around here for days and had never seen any forest around here. So car 142 seconds' heart started beating faster, and subconsciously, he decided not to stop the car here. He had to drive forward quickly. When car 142 started driving again, he drove for a good 3 to 4 hours. Car 142 just drove around this dirt road. The forest next to it is getting denser. Is too felt like he had driven into a primitive area. But at that time, he seemed unable to control himself. He just kept driving the car. As he drove further, it felt mechanized. Until he drove past midnight. 142 came back to his senses. "Oh, I can't drive. Where am I driving to?" Then he braked the car to a stop. As soon as he braked, 142 heard a long honk from behind. It was clearly the sound of a large truck's horn. 142 immediately looked back and saw a huge truck rushing towards him. And the truck driver was flashing his lights at him. At that moment, he suddenly came to his senses. He immediately stepped on the gas again and started driving the car towards the roadside. But friends, let's not forget, the roadside was a forest, and the forest was very dense. And more importantly, this small road was very narrow. 142 drove the car directly into the roadside forest. He charged right in. As he charged down, 142 felt his car's bottom scrape, and the car drove between two trees. Fortunately, the car didn't hit the trees, but he couldn't drive forward anymore because several trees were blocking the way. So his two slammed on the brakes. But he couldn't care less at that moment. He quickly looked back to see if the big truck was coming, afraid it would hit the back of his car. But as he turned his head, the big truck sped straight past the rear of his car. And as it passed, the truck driver cursed at him. "Are you crazy? You stopped right in the middle of the road. What the hell? Tuh-huh." After cursing, 142 didn't respond, because he was stunned at that moment. Cold sweat broke out on him. "Oh no, forget it, I almost got hit. I wonder why, on this dirt road, how?" As he said this, he looked around as he spoke. And then he saw, Dasto, day. How am I on the road? Suddenly, the surrounding forests and the dirt road all disappeared. But that wasn't the most surprising thing. Before he could react, he suddenly saw a light ahead. The light was white, and it had a very ominous character written on it. He gasped again. My God, how many hours have I been driving? How did I end up back here? Hello, friends. I want to ask all my friends nationwide, has anyone, as a child or a friend, seen a snake with a coxcomb? If you say you saw one when you grew up, don't forget to leave a comment below. Let me see. How many people have seen this strange snake? Let's get back to the topic. Brother Kai has a story for us. Next, I'll tell you a story. After you hear this story, you'll know what this crested snake I am talking about is, and what it looks like. And at the end, I'll also tell you that so far in our community, 4 listeners have personally seen this thing in their childhood. And I also searched online. But I also looked it up online. This snake with a crest. Only very elderly people know about it. And some people born in the 80 seconds have seen it. People born in the 90 seconds and 2000 seconds basically don't know what this thing is. So that means it basically hasn't appeared since before the 1990 seconds. But before the 1990 seconds, many people saw it. Many people saw it. Next is a story from our listener Xiao Yu, a young lady from Beijing. She told us, Xiao Yu's story is about this snake with a crest. When Xiao Yu was 8 or 9 years old, one day, she went to the fields with her grandma to play. Although Xiao Yu is from Beijing, her family lived in Wangjing back then. Now, Xiao Yu says, the land where my grandma's house was has now become Wangjing Forest Park. Xiao Yu and her grandma went to the fields together to play that day. They were having fun playing. She was playing with some other kids. But while they were playing, they heard some adults shouting in the distance. Hey, what is that thing? Hey you, look, what is that on the tree? As soon as those adults shouted, several people gathered around, and they completely surrounded a tree. Xiao Yu and her grandma were curious too, so she followed her grandma to take a look. But Xiao Yu didn't dare to go closer. She was a girl, and stood far away. She could see quite clearly from a distance, Xiao Yu said. she saw a branch on the tree at that time. And the branch was hanging down. And on the branch was a black, tire-like object. I hadn't seen much of the world when I was little. I didn't know what it was, so I asked my grandma, "Grandma, what is that?" Then my grandma covered me with her hand and pulled me back. "Get back. It's a snake." A snake? Xiaoyu said it was black and dark, and its scales were flashing with a silvery light, with flashes of silver light. And this snake was extremely thick and large, coiled in an arc. Really, if you were far away, don't blame Xiaoyu. It really looks like a bicycle tire, hanging on a tree. But you can't see the snake's head, because its head is blocked by the leaves on the tree. But right here, a big guy came down, and everyone was curious. Suddenly, the snake's head, from the dense leaves on the branches, shot down. After it shot down, the snake stuck out its long tongue. Ah! It made a scary sound. But none of this is important. The key is that Xiaoyu was stunned. There was a big fleshy tumor on the snake's head. Because Xiaoyu was very young, she had never seen this before, so she asked her grandma, "Grandma, Grandma, what is that on the snake's head? Is it broken?" Xiaoyu's grandma was also confused. "I can't see clearly either. What's going on?" "It." Just then, the adults nearby shouted, "Oh my God! It's a coxcomb snake. The snake has a coxcomb on its head." "It." As soon as the crowd shouted this, the sound spread out. Everyone was scared. Xiaoyu was standing behind her grandma, with her grandma blocking her. Then she pulled Xiaoyu back. Next, after a while, there were no people left near the tree. At least everyone had spread out several meters. Then, some of the older men started talking. "Damn it! Damn it! This snake has a coxcomb! Damn it! This snake has a coxcomb on its head. I heard my grandpa talk about this when I was a child. It really exists. Is that so? Let me tell you, this thing is very unlucky. And don't touch it. This thing is poisonous." This made everyone even more scared. At that time, it wasn't just one person, you know? Many people were gathered around. There was a lot of noise. Then, everyone started to scatter. Some people even picked up hoes and pickaxes, fearing the snake would attack them. But the snake just kept hanging on the tree, making rustling sounds. And this snake, by now, Xiaoyu could see clearly. The bag on its head was as big as an adult's arm. And the big coxcomb on its head was very long. It wasn't like a rooster's short coxcomb. This one was thin and long. And the coxcomb was red, fleshy, and dangly. The snake's tongue flickered.